Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We got in a real treat. Our buddy Shane brought us a couple awesome pinball machines. This is not one, but two of the classic Stern Dracula pinball machines. If you're a collector, you know all about all of this, but if you're not a collector, basically, to make a Dracula pinball machine, it doesn't have to be licensed. Like, you don't have to pay anybody to make a Dracula pinball machine because the book is old enough. And at the time, Stern was doing some licensed stuff, like they did a Ted Nugent pinball machine, but this was a way to make a machine that you didn't have to pay for that has an awesome theme, right? So this is very old. Some of the early Sterns, and this is not the modern Stern, it's the original Stern, Stern Electronics. The same gentleman that runs Stern now ran Stern back then with his father, but it's not really the same company. It's just the company reformed. But anyway, some of these early Sterns are kind of rare. They didn't sell a ton of them, and they don't pop up all that much. So finding not just one Stern Dracula, but two Stern Draculas is kind of crazy. So we have not unwrapped them, although peekaboo, looks like the back glass is in at least this one. So we're going to see what kind of shape they're in and all of that. We're going to set them both up, and then we're going to fix both of them. What do you think about that? Now, Shane was telling us, hey, do one of them first. Make one of them real nice, and then we'll see what we want to do with the second one. Come on, Shane. You know you're going to fix both. Come on now. Come on, Shane. You know you're not going to not fix the Stern Dracula. It's going to be just fine. But maybe he wants to sell it not fixed or something. We'll talk to him after we fix the first one. But we've had a lot of people come in here, and if they know what it is, so if a random customer comes in and they see it, they go, "Oh, that looks kind of cool. That looks neat, right?" But if somebody comes in and they know what it is, they go, "Hey, is that for sale?" Because it's kind of it's recognized as being a kind of cool game. But we're going to find out. So the first thing we need to do is get them on legs. So I think he brought us some legs. There they are. Looks like 8 legs. By the way, it looks like in the video it's making this one look like it's faded or something. It's not. They both look the same. I don't know if the paint's been touched up or not. Doesn't look like it. So he wants us to kind of figure out which one's in better shape. So I guess I would say that one's in better shape. Shane, they both look pretty good to me. They're not perfect, but I think both of them look decent. But maybe this one's a little better. This doesn't have anything like that. So we'll say this one for now. But I think we're going to end up in a situation where they're both fairly close. But, you know, we might be able to put the best back glass in one of them and things like that. So cabinet-wise, I would have to say that one's just a little bit nicer, but they're both pretty decent. So maybe that'll be the one that we put the best playfield and the best back glass in. Okay, so we'll get some legs on them, set them up, and then we'll go from there. All right, folks, Joe got them set up, as you saw. And we've come to the conclusion we think the left one is better in every way, but we'll see as we go through it. So again, we're going to make one as nice as possible, and then the other one is going to get all the remaining parts. And I suppose Shane's probably going to sell that one, but I think he's got a whole waiting list of people wanting to buy it because these are so cool. So I believe we were saying that cabinet's nicer, unless Joe did the switcheroo on us, but I don't think he did. They don't really. Well, I don't know, man. They're both about the same, I think. You know, the black border around the back glass we will repaint on both of them, so that won't be a factor. But they're both pretty decent. This is what I was going on. Just the wear at the corner there, which is so minor. I don't know. They're both about the same, Shane. You're asking me to pick, Pamela Anderson or Heather Locklear. I mean, I don't know how Tommy Lee did that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't get that. But they're both pretty nice, man. The pinball machines too. Okay, so we'll say that I think, like I said, I think the left one maybe is a little bit better. The playfield's a different story. The playfield, definitely the left one is better. I'll show you. Let me take this stuff off. This actually goes with it. Let's put it up on top so we don't lose it. It's all gravy, baby. Okay, so this one is much nicer, but I think part of it is just because someone has cleaned it up. So this is just how they stand. This is how we received them. If you look at the apron, this one's got a little wear up here, and it's red and black. This one is blue and red, so I don't know, maybe one of them got swapped at some point. That's the type of thing you look on the flyer to figure out. But I think I like the black and the red one. I would assume that is Dracula, the Count. You've shown off that red, and then the black. When I think Dracula, I think a black cape and red blood, but on the back glass he has a blue cape. So I don't know. Maybe the blue and the red is what they intended for it. We'll see. The playfield, like I said, it looks like someone's cleaned it up. There's a little bit of, I mean, just minor wear there. That is nothing I would touch up. You clean that and roll with it. That ain't going to get any worse. That's going to be just fine. I wouldn't repaint that because you're going to see where you repainted it. The plastics both look good on the slingshots. Over here, you've got a broken slingshot plastic and a missing slingshot plastic. So I hate to do it to him, but he might have to order a set of plastics. I'm going to just see what he wants to do. I completely understand if people want to save money. Like if he says, well, just see if you can find just 2 used ones. I'm cool with that. I'm completely cool with that. Some people don't mind just throwing as much money as it takes at one of them, but I'm not really like that. I like to save a little money when you can. And plus, if you get used plastics, as long as they're not all cracked up and stuff, they're kind of more original. That's how I see it. I see some, looks like almost stippling in the paint. That's crazy. We'll have to look at that whenever we get farther into it. Nice plastic here, nice plastic there. On the other one, both of those look fine. They're just dirty. We got the 3 stern, actually there's 4 at the top as well. So there's 3 blue stern targets there. And then there are 4 black ones up there. Over on this machine, there's 3 blue ones there, leading me to believe that's probably original. And then up here, there appears to be 1, maybe 2 black ones, and then 2 blue circles that came off of something else. Notice how they have a hood on the top of them too. Those are the later stern targets. The original ones were well, I may have it backwards. At one point, they did not have a lid on them, and then later on they added a lid. They call one or the other the tombstone targets. So I don't know. I would assume, since we think all of these are original, that they originally had that style on this game. Look at them. You're next, he says. Okay. There are 3 pop bumpers. They have a little bit of burn in the middle. Again, on mine, I'd probably leave it. But it's not mine, so I'll see what Shane wants to do. These 3 are about the same. Maybe slightly worse, but if it's me, I'd leave them. They're original. When it's turned on, they're all going to be lit up anyway. I know I know a lot of people do not agree with that at all. Okay, so this plastic is beat all to crap. The reason for that is anytime you have a plastic that the ball rolls under, it's just going to crack, period. That's just how it is. And on this one, it's missing. So we actually need 2 of those. However, someone may have reproduced just that plastic, because it's probably broke on every one of these. So sometimes on such a small plastic, someone will reproduce it. And Stern is pretty good about not suing the hell out of people that reproduce stuff. You know, they're still in business. It's the same Stern that's around now, kind of. Let me put it this way. The company that owns the rights to this game is the current Stern. How's that? Stern Electronics. As I understand it, and I could be wrong, Gary Stern owns the rights to every one of these freaking games to this day. Good for him. So at the top, on this one, you have just a random sunburst pop bumper. Actually, that's not a pop bumper. See, there's no, unless the pieces are missing, there's no popping mechanism. That's a dead bumper. These are pop bumpers. They have the ring in it that can move. Yeah, okay. So look, see the way Stern did there is the entire assembly can come out the bottom. See the hole underneath the skirt there? All of their pop bumpers are like that. That one's not, because that's not a pop bumper. That's what they call a dead bumper. The ball just rolls up on there and gets you some points, and then that's that. Okay, so on that one, it's actually the wrong bumper. The whole thing, the body and everything. On this one is actually the correct one. See how the skirt doesn't have a hole for the rod, the mechanism that bounces the ball, and see how the body there has a very dirty rubber ring around the middle of it, and see how the cap on the top has a completely different look. They call that the deco. I think it's called a deco cap. It's just the design of it. And notice it has the skull on it. Well, certainly that's original to the game. This one, somebody has replaced not just the top, the whole freaking assembly. So we got to order that for sure. I think I've got the parts to make the body and everything, but I don't have the cap, obviously. But we could just steal it off that. Look, we're going to get into it, folks. We'll get into it. Okay, there's a big flipper hiding up there that I didn't even see. And it's kind of interesting that it's such a large one. It's a full-size flipper. But you can tell by the artwork that that's probably how it was intended. Kind of reminds me of Bally, Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man. It has something kind of like that up there. I think kind of in the same exact spot. I'll have to look at a picture of that. This is before that, though. So Bally would have been ripping this off. Cool snake wrapping around the top up there. But this top left plastic is completely missing on this one. And on this one, it's here. See how this is kind of greenish? It's a blue, but it's kind of got like a green hint to it. And this one doesn't as much. So if I take that one plastic and put it over there, it's probably not going to match that well. So if I do use those plastics, like if we don't order a whole new set, I'll try to find one, and I'll try to tell from the pictures that it's not faded green, that it's more blue. If you look, I don't know if you can tell, but that is different than that. So if I put that one right there, it's going to stand out a little bit, which ain't the end of the world. So as far as wear, there's a little bit of wear there. No big deal. There is a little bit of wear there. That can be touched up, no big deal. And you got a little bit of wear here. Doesn't look that great. But that's about it. Now, there's something going on up here. Boy, that was pleasant. Let's do it some more. Look at the light hitting the playfield. See those dimples in it right there? That's the type of stuff you see on new pinball machines, like the new Sterns do that. I don't know about the newest ones, but 10 years ago there was a big problem where all of them did that, and people freaked out because they wanted their $20,000 or $8,000 toys to be in mint condition forever. But the ball will land on the paint and it dents it. So I was thinking, looking through the glass, that might be somebody's clear coat, but that's not. That's just that's dimpling. That's kind of weird. You don't usually see that. I wonder, is that a sticker or something? No, that's paint. Yeah, I don't usually see that. And that's it. I just realized that I'm comparing it to modern Sterns, and this is a Stern. Apparently all the Sterns dimple, people. So you're seeing little dents where the ball hits it or something. You see it, right? It's not flat, and that's not just the typical ball swirl. Usually you get those little circular marks. That's where the ball just kind of curves around as it rolls around, and it cuts the paint a little bit, and you get that on every machine. But this is like little dents. Look at that. That's very similar to what was happening with their newer stuff. Personally, I don't mind. I don't care. It doesn't bother me, but it's interesting to me. I know a lot of people would freak out about that. Let's slide this back in. Watch your ears. Look, it's a horror theme, people. If you were in a little bit of pain there, what's the problem? It's a horror theme. Okay, now on this one, it's in much worse shape. So you got actually kind of the same wear there on the left that the other one has, in the exact same spot. That's kind of weird. And then up here, you can see where the eject, the ball has been landing right there. And instead of denting the paint, it has completely removed the paint. Now you would think that you'd have the same thing over here. Look how they have bent the ejector, but it still should land right through here somewhere, but I don't see the wear. So unless somebody really cleaned it up, I just don't think it's had as much time on it as this one. But this one, it has. However, if you look close at the playfield, you don't see the same. Of course, you're going to get the reflection. I don't want to pull it out, but there's no dimpling on this one. We'll look at it more extensively whenever we take it all apart. It's just how they usually are on this one. There's no dents. So I don't know. Could be this one was made at a different time than the other one, but I don't think they made a ton of these though. Okay, now up here, much worse wear. You've got wear to the right of the dead pop bumper, which you wouldn't think you'd even see because it doesn't bounce off of it that fast. And then pretty severe wear there. You got some kind of train wreck going on over here. I don't know what that is. All of this can be cleaned up though. I'm not complaining or dogging it. This will clean up and be a very nice machine whenever we're done. I'm just saying, if you're picking one, that one's in better shape than this one. Okay. Now the back glasses, we'll have to take them out. Joey said he thought that one was a little nicer, but I don't know. We'll have to look at it. From the front, they look about perfect. Maybe this is something. Yeah, that's probably some kind of wear there. And then there's something with his pant leg. It's not the black, it's just, you can't really see it, but there's like a little, see the dotting there? There you go. See that? Uh-huh. The paint's starting to lift just a little bit. So there's some kind of issues there. So on this one, you don't have the scratching there. And his pants leg, although there are a couple lighter spots, those greenish spots there, like that little dot, that kind of light blue dot there, that's different, but you don't see the paint separating. So this back glass is probably nicer, so we'll probably end up putting that one in there. But really, you know, come on, man, they're pretty straight up. But if he's going to keep one and sell the other one, I don't blame him. Even if this one's a 9.2 and that one's a 9.3, let's swap them, right? I understand. Okay, so pretty decent shape. I'll point out that you can tell just by looking at the front that there are several displays missing from this one. So we're probably going to have to order a set of LED displays, and we'll see if he would prefer them being the first one or the second one. So I'll talk with him a little bit and see if he has any ideas what he's thinking. But basically, we probably need to get a plastic set and an extra, you know, horseshoe plastic there. Probably going to need some drop targets. And probably going to need a set of displays. And then we'll go from there. So here is the back of machine number 1. And yeah, there's a little bit of something going on there. I don't know if that's all the way through. We won't know till we light it up, but a little bit of something there. And that we did see from the front, so I would imagine you can see that too. But other than that, pretty nice. This one, a little bit better. I think that's just surface stuff, but we'll see. So whichever one lights up the best, we'll put in machine number 1. Okay, so let's see what's in the back box. This is machine, let's do them in order. Machine number 1. This is going to be the one we fix first. Machine number 1 has 2 displays left. I did get a hold of Shane. We put the bat signal out, and he wants us to go ahead and get LED displays for it. So we're going to buy Wolfpack LED displays and put them together. I've done that before. I really like those. It's a little less expensive if you build them yourself, and they make a good product. So 3 of them are missing. Okay, we've got our transformer here. Power supply. Solenoid driver board is missing. No big deal. The lamp board is still there. And the sound board is there. That's good because these are kind of hard to track down. The MPU has seen better days, but we'll see. Same thing, we'll ask him if he wants us to fix that one or buy a new one. So we're missing a solenoid board. MPU board is questionable, and the probably need to go with the LEDs. Now I mentioned new drop targets. Yeah, I mentioned might need a new pop bumper cap set. Yeah. And I mentioned new plastics. Got a new plastic set. Very cool. So we got those from Marco Specialties. Like I said, they're just right down the road. Between the first part of this video and this part of the video, a couple days have passed. I don't know, Shane. I think I can see carpet. That one's got a little bit of a scratch in it. Okay, so on this side, it has all the displays, but something interesting that I noticed. Look at how this one has burnt. See how the 3, you can just see the middle segment? That's weird. That's a weird way to burn. That display is probably trash, but we'll see. So we've got 5 and then 2 over there. So we've got 7. If I can get 5 of them to work out of that, it'll save us from having to buy another set of LED displays. But we'll see what the numbers are like and what the money's like. He may just decide to do it on both of them. Okay, so we have, strangely, this one is in more complete condition. So we have the transformer, the rectifier board, solenoid driver board, and I believe that is a Stern solenoid driver board. Yeah. The Bally's are identical. Lamp driver board, Stern, the soundboard, and another MPU. So I don't know. We got 2 MPUs. Why not just fix the MPUs, people? I like fixing them. Might just fix them. Save Shane $200. Of course, I'll have to charge him a little bit to fix them, but you know, we'll see what he wants to do. Pretty good. Not bad. Let me put the glasses back in them. Let's lift the play fields and see what they look like underneath. All right, so strangely enough, they're built completely different. So we're going to have to find serial numbers now. Look what you made me do, folks. Now I'm going to have to find serial numbers. Does that say 52? And does that say 8? It probably doesn't mean anything. B probably. I don't know. We're going to have to find a serial number somewhere. Looks pretty good. But there's just all kinds of stuff different. It's very, very strange. So, see the little plate that mounts the power switch? So that's how this one looks. And over here, it's completely different. Stuff like that is weird to me. Okay, so yeah, see the dirt there? I mean, that's original. It's just completely different. But the biggest thing is, see the metal rails here on the front? This is machine 2. Machine 1, they're wood. And that's factory, obviously. The playfield is completely different. See where the wood rail is there that holds everything up? Now look over here. See how high that is? See how much lower that is? That's crazy. So this one, there is a metal bar on the back here, but then the rest of the playfield is just the plywood. But then you get over to this one, there's a metal bar on the back here that's mounted a little off center. The other one's centered. And then there's metal rails down the edges all the way to the front that one doesn't have. It's just a different way of mounting the playfield. See the little catch there? And the metal bar that the playfield rests on again. But over here, there's no catch, and the wood is what the playfield rests on. There's no catch on the front. This side continues all the way down. And that side has a little catch to stop it. Must have been right when they swapped cabinet designs or something. On this one, see the wood supports on the bottom of the playfield? I mean the bottom of the cabinet. So there's the coin box area. Yeah, this is just crazy. Okay, so see the coin box area. There's a little wood thing to hold the coin box, and then there is a little purple board there. But look on this side. the board's taller, and you have these little supports here that aren't on this one. So then on this one, number one, just behind the speaker, you've got a slat to help support the bottom, and then another one back at about 70%. But on this one, you got one at about 40% and one at about 65%. This one, you've got bigger, I always call these chalk blocks, but I don't know what those are called. These little, this blocking. And on this one, it's got a little bit of that, but not as much. I don't know, Shane. You kind of got some mismatched stuff here. That's cool. Well. Damn. Well, I'm going to stick with what I'm doing. I think that's the better one because this one has some damage at the back, too. Alright, it's not quite as nice. Joey was saying something about the back of it, too. I don't know. We're going to roll with what we got. I mean, I don't think he cares too much on the difference of the insides. So that's... I'm a Libra, people. You know, the scales, this is like a damn nightmare for me. Let's see, what would be the fair one to pick? You know, Libras can't ever make up their mind. You know that, right? Because they see the good on both sides of everything. So that's why I'm just going to stick with number one. Shane, I'm going to stick with number one, buddy. I'm a Libra. You deal with it. You'll be okay. Okay, so let me pull out that stuff in the back, and we'll see what all other goodies are waiting for us back there. So, it's missing the spinner, but there's one laying on the bottom of the cabinet. Come on, Shane. Come on now. That's obviously from a silver... Shane, come on now. That's not for a... That's not a Dracula spinner, Shane. That's from Silverball... Shane, we can all tell that that's from Silverball Mania. That's not even a Stern game. I don't know why you would have that inside of your Dracula. Come on now. You gonna make me... Shane, you're gonna make me stutter. Come on now. That's not the right one. Okay, so there's a bunch of paperwork. Ooh, this is one of those big, huge schematics. You rarely see these. Every once in a while inside of one of the machines, they had full-size schematics that'll be like, almost like drafting stuff. Okay, so that's the main MPU board. Some cards. Stern's Games General Book. You know, Stern, you're not saying much about your creativity if the name of the manual is General Book. I don't know about that. DRACULA. This is... Ooh. Look, this goes in the back. And it's kind of handwritten in a very Dracula-esque looking font there. I wonder if they did that on purpose or if they all looked like that. Oh, look at this. Look what they've done. Somebody put a new MPU in it, then stole it out of it. I'm gonna have to do the whole thing over again. Come on, Shane. You took out the new Shane, if you had a new MPU, you should... Come on now, you shouldn't have took the new one out. So this is an old copy of the software that came, I believe, NVRAM Weebly. I may be wrong about that. This may not... I was about to say it had the Alltech one, but I don't think so. I think that's actually one of the competitors. I've never used that brand of replacement NPU. And I'm still not going to because it's not in the machine. Okay, here is another general book. And wait for it. Wait for it. I believe there may be another general book in here somewhere. This is the sound schematics. Very useful. By the way, most of these are online already. There is the power supply, power transformer schematic. There's the other Dracula manual. So we've got two sets of everything probably. The display board, the cabinet wiring, shipping envelope packing list for Dracula, that's kind of cool, and another one. So somehow there's two sets of schematics, I mean it's two sets of everything, but only one set of schematics, and they're all in one machine. I think these two have been, think about the fate of these two machines. They were built at different times on the assembly line because they have completely different cabinets. So one was probably built a month before the other one. So they never saw each other at the Stern factory, but then somehow, years later, they end up right next to each other for the rest of their life until Shane sells one of them. But up until then, right here in our store, they're going to be reunited. Or united for the first time. Okay, that's everything that was back there. That one's clean. Well, not clean, but you know, we got all the stuff out of it. And this one as well. It's very cool. I wanted to show you one other thing. Okay, this is for Shane. Because like I said, as a Libra, you just got to pick one and stick with it. I mean, you can't really, because I could think of 100 reasons to switch to that one. I'll do this all day, you know. So I'm going to pick this one. This is the one. This is Shane's. This is the nicest one. And I'm going to prove it. Factory inspection tag. No quality control. Now on this one, we're going to play a little game. Factory inspection tag. See the little line at the bottom? Somebody making a mark. I checked all that. I checked all that. And then they appear to have written a date backwards, upside down on it, of 3/14. And then that's somebody's signature, I think. It's this clock number. Maybe clerk number. I guess it wouldn't be clock number. Clerk number or something, right? But this one, Shane, had no quality control. So this thing's probably all screwed up. This one had some kind of quality control, but the guy was either drunk because he wrote it upside down, or it was a Friday. So let's see when 3/14 was and whatever year they built this game. All right, so looking on the Internet Pinball database, there are two pictures that show the bottom of the playfield. There's this one, and you see the same line drawn down it, but I can't tell what date the gentleman put on the playfield. And then there's this one. Well, this one, which is one of the ones that they shipped to Australia as parts. So Stern had this thing where they were shipping the games disassembled, like in boxes, instead of inside of the cabinet, which I don't know how that would really save much room. You'd think if you took the head off, it would be about the same, but they were shipping knockdown versions of it to ALI, I guess that's Allied Leisure, I think. But anyway, this is one of those, and on this playing field, you've got the same line, like as on the other one we just saw, and the one in our game, and it says 3/16/79, and it's upside down. And then there is a number here, and somebody has signed it, you know. All right. So if you look at a calendar of 1979, ours was built on the 14th, which is Wednesday, or that's when it was checked. And then theirs was checked on Friday. So apparently this guy started drinking about Tuesday night and was so drunk for the rest of the week that he couldn't even tell which side was up. You know, hey, maybe both of these are from Australia, and that's why everything's upside down. I'll have to figure it out. This is very confusing to me. Okay, it also says on the Internet Pinball Database that they believe that production was from January 11th of 79 to April 6th of 79. And you may wonder, how do they know that? Well, they've got access to company documents. Probably, very possibly could have been provided by Stern themselves. The gentleman that runs the Internet Pinball Database, I may have this wrong, but I'm just going to say this, and if I'm wrong, people can correct me down below. I don't know if this is correct or not. I might have the wrong gentleman. But anyway, some of these people that are, the guy that runs the Internet Pinball Database, obviously, or the woman, whoever, obviously they're really into pinball, right? And so a company like Stern, which, up until a couple years ago was still a family-owned company, they don't have any problem with guys like that if they want to come down to the factory and take a tour and talk to the guys and the girls. And there's actually, you can still take factory tours at Stern. And I think at most of the pinball machine manufacturers, because they're proud of what they're doing. So they very well may have production numbers and dates from documents that they obtained from Stern by just simply asking them for them. Or maybe Stern reached out and provided information on some of their classic games. It's a different company. So Stern went under, but then Mr. Stern, Gary Stern, restarted the new Stern almost 20 years later. But he still retains the rights to these games, I believe, and he's probably still got records of the paperwork and all that stuff. So anyway, all of that to say, ours was built March 14th. Production end date was April 6th. None of this is important. It's just kind of interesting, in my opinion. I'd love to find a serial number on these suckers, though. I don't know where Stern put theirs. Let me see if I can find one. All right, another thing I was thinking about. I wonder if the heads ever got swapped since they were by them, near each other. So on the Internet Pinball Database, it's saying that the ones that went to Australia that are Leisure and Allied Services games do not have a serial number on it. 5996. Now, they're telling us they only made like 4,000 of them. So who knows what number they actually started with. 5996. And this one on the cabinet also says 5996. Now if we go over to this one, $6354, so 400 later. No, 6894, I think. No, 6354, I think. We're going to have to go back, right? 6354. This is why you like my videos, people. That is, yeah, 6354. Okay, cool. So, less than 400 machines after they built this one, they made this one, and the cabinet had changed by that point. Further research is necessary. We got to get to the bottom of this crap, folks. We have got to get to the bottom of this. Okay, so here is the Leisure and Allied Industries pictures on the Internet Pinball Database. Serial number 8269. And you can see the metal rail. So this is the later cabinet design. We've got one of the earlier cabinet designs and one of the later cabinet designs. But according to the serial number, 8269, let's do some math. According to the serial number and the rails, that tells us, that this is a later one. And they've got the numbers of them made total. So we'll say 8269 is one of the, well, we just know that's a number. So if we subtract the total number built, we should get somewhere near whatever the starting number would have been, right? All right, so on the text on Internet Pinball Database, it says that the cabinets aren't stamped with the serial number, but on one of the pictures, somebody says that the serial number of that Australian one is 8,269. So if you subtract the total number of them made that would, if that was the last one made, the first one made would have been 4,657. Ours, our early one is 5,996. But of course, there's no way we have on the Internet Pinball database that this is the last one made. So they probably started the numbering at about 5,000, something like that, which makes sense. They're trying to inflate their numbers. I don't blame them. But it looks like they sold 3,500 of them or so in the United States, and then they talked Leisure and Allied Industries into buying some, and they bought another 262 of them. So there we go. But I want to see what the pinball machine just before this, what the cabinet looked like, see if they changed it right in the middle of the Dracula run like it appears that they did. So the game before Dracula was Stern's Ted Nugent pinball machine. Uncle Ted, the Motor City madman himself. And here he is, taking his own tour of the Stern factory, sitting inside of one of the many Nugent pinball machines that they were making at the time. And if you look, sure enough, it had the early style cabinet. So let's go see which one they made after Dracula. So the next game made after Dracula was Trident, but they say it started in March, which means they would have been building it right when they were building Dracula. So some of the Draculas probably ended up in the new style cabinet that they came up with for Trident. They also have our buddy back doing his upside down inspections. He really took this Dracula thing to heart. So there's one here for Trident where somebody's inspecting it in May. And here's one of somebody inspecting it in February. So that predates our inspection date on the left one. Boy, we're going a whole lot of nowhere, but it sure is fun.
That, of course, is a mirror of it.
There's this guy on YouTube that films videos of pinball machines all the time.
But effective.
But
I like the color scheme, too. And then here is the back glass.
The idiot won't open up the machine.
Very weird back glass. So basically this guy, I guess maybe Poseidon, maybe?
It's Joe's Classic Video Games, that jerk. If he would have showed inside, we'd know if Trident had the new supports in February. This is important. Some people just don't get it.
New back glasses usually don't have.
All right, Craigslist to the rescue. Here's a Trident, and it has the newer style cabinet. So I think what happened was, for the production of Trident, they had designed a new way of holding up the playfield, and then they sold so many Draculas that they, even though they had switched to the new cabinet in February, they just kept using that style of cabinet, the new style of cabinet on Dracula, because, I mean, it didn't really matter, and you can't tell from the outside anyway. It looks the same outside, it just looks slightly different inside, and it's mainly just the playfield rails and the way the blocking's done on the bottom. And look, when this Trident was made, we had our same guy that doesn't fill out the inspection card. I don't know who that guy is, but I'll bet he got fired. So that solves the mystery. This one was built first. Then they designed Trident. They were still using the Ted Nugent and earlier style playfield supports. And the cabinets, maybe they swapped manufacturers or something, but the cabinet blocking was a little bit different. And then by the time they made Trident, they swapped the new cabinet, made a new cabinet design slightly different. Probably all of the Tridents have that cabinet design, and that probably delineates when they switched from this design to that design. But Dracula was proving evergreen, and they made almost 3,700 of these suckers or something like that. So there you go, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. Well, Shane, you can come pick them up now. I've had my fun. All right, so we got to work on them now. But that'll be a different video. I like, you know, a lot of the interesting thing to me, it's as if this video isn't long enough. Let me rant for a minute. A lot of the interesting part of working on these is the life these things have lived You're looking at a game that was built in 1979. We just proved it, right? So, quick math, 45 years old, 44 years old. So it's 44 years old, and the damn thing is still in pretty good shape. So what in the world has it been doing for 44 years? Right? That's kind of part of the interesting part to me. That's kind of why I like old stuff. So we're going to fix it up. We're going to make it play cool, and we're going to try to make it play like it did when it was new. But part of it is knowing kind of the story behind it and seeing what little clues are here and there, right? Now we kind of know where this one was because of this. This one made its way to Texas. So, at least this one was in Texas. We don't know where that one was, but very cool. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Next time, we're not going to do anything to that one. We're going to do this one first. Knock it out, and then we'll do that one. So next time we'll get started on actually repairing it. And we'll do it the way we always do it. We'll start at the wall, work through the power cord, work up to the power supply and the transformer and the rectifier board, then the solenoid board, then to the MPU board, then to the lamps and the displays, and then to the play field. So it's going to be awesome. So leave your comments below. Let us know what you think so far. Make sure to give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you. Did I mention that Dracula is like one of my favorite books? Should I put over Dracula for a second? If you're not the type to read books, or maybe you've never read an old book, I'll tell you real quick how the horror books kind of went, okay? There's 3 that I'm aware of, really big early ones. So the first was Frankenstein, written by a 16-year-old girl, Mary Shelley. I think actually her last name was not Shelley at the time. I can't remember what her last name was. Miss Mary Shelley. She's 16 years old, wrote Frankenstein. It's brilliant. And it's just new enough that even though, and it was written in like 1816 or something like that, it's really good. It's not so old that it's unapproachable. So it's a 200-year-old book, but you can understand it. The language isn't so antiquated that you can't understand it. And it's pretty damn well done, right? So that kind of put it into motion. That's how you do horror, you know. That was an excellent book. And then Dracula, of course, was written by Bram Stoker. But, you know, vampires existed before the book Dracula. But Bram Stoker wrote that in, I believe, 1890-ish, somewhere around through there, from 1885 to 1895, something like that. The difference between the book Dracula and the book Frankenstein is that he basically took everything that she had kind of came up with in Frankenstein, and he had that to kind of pave the way. So Dracula is a much better book just because it's more advanced. So it starts right at the beginning. The dude's on the way to the castle, right? And you already know what the book's about because Dracula is so synonymous with culture now. So right from the beginning, it's pretty exciting. And it's told through letters between people and stuff. And it's such a well-written book. So if you haven't ever read it, read it. If you've seen the movies, yeah, you've seen some of it, but read the book. It's really good. So I'm a big fan of Dracula. Awesome, 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 awesome. And of course, you know, once Universal made the movie, which I think was 1931, it's just part of culture forever, pop culture. And then the next big one that was really awesome was The Phantom of the Opera. The Phantom of the Opera was like a comedy. There wasn't really any comedy in Frankenstein, and there wasn't any comedy in Dracula. It was straight up horror. The Phantom of the Opera has elements of horror and comedy, and it was written in like 1915, something like that. So it's the same thing. He took what Mary Shelley had done with Frankenstein and what Bram Stoker had done with Dracula, and he made it even better whenever he made The Phantom of the Opera. I don't know that The Phantom of the Opera is better than those two books, but it's damn good. If you think it's just like that play, it's not just that play. It's a really, really good book. And like I said, it's funny in a lot of places. So really cool. So if you haven't read all those old horror books, you got to check it out. If you like old pinball machines, you might like old books. All right, so there you go. Leave your comments down below. Make sure to check out my brother Donnie's channel if you haven't. There's a link down below. We do pinball machines, arcade games, and jukeboxes and book reviews. My brother, my brother Donnie works on old vehicles and old buildings, so I'm over there with him on his channel a lot. We'll see you on the next one. I hope you enjoyed it so far. We'll bring them back to life next time.